the United Kingdom, Britain, Australia, Canada reports that New Zealand and Norway are participating too. What are they doing? They are sanctioning two of the most extreme right-wing members of the Israeli government, Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir. Everything is linked. The American administration is increasing the tone. The main American allies across the world are having these moves. Some American leaders and politicians are denying, condemning and what have you, but it's happening. Okay. Whether it's happening in coordination with the Trump administration or not, let's stop. Let's just stop here for a second and understand what's happening. Sanctions against these people. Why? For inciting West Bank violence. According to the statements that came, they're saying that Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have incited extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human rights. These actions are not acceptable. This is why we have taken action now to hold those responsible to account. And they're calling for an immediate ceasefire. Okay, beautiful. So far, so good. But I have a question, if I may. They have incited extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human. Are you being serious? So hold on a second. Inciting violence brings sanctions, but ordering a genocide doesn't. Can someone explain to me something here? So sanctions against them for inciting violence and human rights abuses in the West Bank even. They're saying in the West Bank. But Benjamin Netanyahu, the war criminal, ordering a genocide for his own political interest, over 20,000 children, over 60,000 people with tens of thousands missing under the rubble. Well, how about taking action against him? Plus, the genocide foreign minister, who's a participant of the genocide, was in Britain not long ago, secretly visiting David Lammy. Someone explained the logic here. So inciting violence means sanctions, but ordering a genocide and starving a population doesn't. I mean, go figure. Listen, every progress towards that direction is welcome, but I mean, seriously, come on now. You have a man ordering his whole country to commit a genocide. Let's just not kid ourselves, please. And if you want to take action, do it properly, for heaven's sake. How long are you going to be on the wrong side of history? How long is the UK, New Zealand, Australia, all of these countries going to be on the wrong side of history, at least in terms of establishment? Yeah, there's a difference between the establishment and the people, but until when are you going to be on the wrong side of history? Tomorrow you will be hiding. Take action now. The earlier the merrier, ladies and gentlemen, because Zionism is imploding. They're on their way out. Forget about it. Nothing is going to save them. Nothing is going to get them out of the mess that they got themselves into. Benjamin Netanyahu and his government and the people speaking in Israel, that's for consumption internally. That's for Israeli consumption. They're speaking to themselves. They're completely delusional, detached from the world. So they're going to end. That's it. It's the final go of Zionism and the state of Israel. So the sooner you realize that and take action, the merrier. And it's not only people criticizing from outside. Look at this here. Look at this report. Intelligence and cyber officers sending a letter to Benjamin Netanyahu, to the Defense Minister Israel Katz, and to members of the government and Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir. What are they saying? We will not continue to serve Netanyahu's war of survival. officers and reservists currently serving, sending an open letter to Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. What are they saying? That they need to complete the deal and stop the war. And they're saying that the government is anti-democratic and illegitimate and chooses perpetual war at the expense of the kidnapped and everyone's lives here. These people are currently serving. So these are not reservists. And this is the letter, by the way. Soldiers for the kidnapped, that says in Hebrew. The letter of the intelligence and cyber soldiers for the kidnapped. They added in this letter that this war, the goal of Netanyahu, is the survival of the coalition, not the protection of the Israeli citizens. When a government acts for foreign motives, its orders are clearly illegal. So they're starting the argument here that the orders that they're getting from the government are illegal and from the army are illegal. Some people have been talking about that, by the way, but this never, ever in history reached this level, where it's being plastered on Israeli mainstream media. We refuse to see our brothers and sisters lose their lives in vain. The government chose to collapse the deal to return the kidnapped, thereby giving them a death sentence for those who are kidnapped. Many kidnapped people have been killed by IDF bombings. Look, that's becoming mainstream now. Listen, what we used to talk about a year and a half ago. You know, I remember people used to say, "Oh, no, yeah, what a liar!" What this? Now they're saying themselves in Israeli mainstream media. Thankfully, Alhamdulillah. It is clear that the goal of returning to fighting in Gaza is the survival of the coalition by appeasing the Kahanist, anti-democratic and messianic elements in the government and promoting a coup d'etat and not protecting the citizens of Israel. This war is intended to preserve the rule of Netanyahu, Smotrich, and Ben Gvir, and we refuse to take part in it. IDF soldiers will be sent to kill and be killed in vain, and our brothers who are kidnapped will die in captivity. Then, guys, there's also criticism. They're harming civilians, they're saying, leads to the killing of the innocents. These orders are clearly illegal, and we must disobey them. Current serving members of the Israeli army, these are. We're killing innocent people. We must disobey. So we hereby declare we won't serve in Netanyahu's war of survival. And they're also mentioning, I mean, this is something out of this world, really. They mentioned somewhere that about the numbers of the deaths. 20,000 children have been killed. So that's a very big problem for Benjamin Netanyahu now, serving members of the Israeli army, saying outright, the orders are unlawful. This is a huge problem. Someone saying that the orders are unlawful, that's it. They're legitimizing, refusing to serve at the highest level possible. That is the top level of refusing, by the way. Saying that the whole thing is illegitimate, you're anti-democratic. Delegitimizing the government, delegitimizing the army, delegitimizing the whole campaign, and the damage that this does internally and on everyone still serving, by the way, is tremendous. Now, moving on to the Palestinian resistance. Now, one thing that is probably the most important thing. We wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for the Palestinian resistance. Number one, for choosing to start an attack on Israel as a responsive measure for decades of oppression, then them lasting to this moment. The Palestinian resistance made things that are unbelievable. The fact that they're still fighting almost 2 years into a full-blown genocide, 2 years of over 100,000 tons of TNT, 2 years of everything being destroyed and their family members being butchered and all of the destruction and all of the genocide, they're still fighting and they're not stopping. And now we have more reports coming from the Gaza Strip. In the past couple of days, it has been mostly, by the way, the armed wing of the PIJ Al-Quds brigades. What did they do? Well, firstly, they seized a reconnaissance drone that belongs to Israel, and according to them, they gained very important information from it. 2, they carried out a strike on Ashkelon or Asqalan. A strike on Asqalan, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these are missiles that are not like small missiles. Taking it down, targeting Asqalan with a missile. Not just that. Look at what else did they do? Look at what they did. Al-Quds brigades, again, armed wing of the PIJ, we detonated a number of violent explosive barrel bombs planted in advance during an operation. We observed the enemy firing heavy fire and smoke bombs to cover the area in preparation for evacuating the dead and wounded. 3 operations all of a sudden. Didn't stop there. They also targeted an Israeli Merkava in Beit Hanun, detonating highly explosive barrel bomb that penetrated the area, a Merkava in the area of Beit Hanun north of the Gaza Strip. Beit Hanun is basically a couple of 100 meters from the borders with Israel. Just a couple of 100 on the borders. So they're talking to you about the resistance and eliminating the resistance. They are on their borders. They're on their borders and they're carrying out these operations there. And not just that, today, Israel is publishing information. Israel all of a sudden is publishing the videos that the Palestinian resistance usually publishes. Why are they doing that? Are they also trying to push for an end of the war? And one of these videos is a man going towards an Israeli Merkava, planting a device and running away, as we can see in this video here. That's Israel publishing that, by the way, not the Palestinians. Israel is posting a full-blown video of the Palestinian resistance, Palestinian fighter, going and targeting an Israeli Merkava. And the man, again, popping out from a destroyed home. Look at that. Going, planting, going away. Merkava doesn't do anything, and bang, it's gone. Wow. Over 19 months into a full-blown genocide. To talk about the actions that are coming from the Palestinian resistance, the intensity of attacks that's coming from the Palestinian resistance, the level, and the fact that they are escalating more and more in the past few weeks. And we've been covering this escalation coming from the Palestinian resistance, and it's not stopping. Now, in relation to Israel and Iran, I previously posted a video about Donald Trump saying that Iran is participating in the talks without elaborating. And I gave my opinion as to why and how Iran might be playing a role in the ceasefire, certain things that they can do. However, Iran just confirmed again that it doesn't matter really if they're participating in talks or not in talks, although they did not really confirm any of the statements that came from Donald Trump, by the way. They said that even if there is a nuclear agreement, the hostility towards Israel will not end. Hossein Salami, even if there's an agreement, the hostility will not end, and the winning side is the one that can last for a long time. Not surprising, but again, Iran is reiterating a deal with the United States doesn't mean an end to the hostilities with Israel. This is a case of core principle coming from Iran towards Israel. Therefore, even if they're included in any certain talks or any arrangements, like Donald Trump stated, by the way, Israel denied, Iran didn't even elaborate. They're saying that the hostilities are not going to end regardless if they reach an agreement with the United States or not. And the one who wins is the one who can last for longer. That is confirming a strategy that is coming from Iran, which is winning by points, not necessarily winning in a knockout. And they know that time isn't playing on Israel's side. The time is on the resistance side. The time is on the Palestinian side, and the time is also on the Iranian side too. Now, moving on to the next thing that I wanted to share with you. The economic damage. Israel is almost out of its yearly budget. We're just half the year, or half the year's passed only, halfway through, but no budget, no money. What's happening? Now, leaked data coming from Meta confirming that Israeli companies are struggling to find customers. For the year 2025, the Israeli government announced that it would be earmarking an additional $150 million toward global public relations. Ooh, PR, as in Hasbara. An unprecedented increase in spending that comes alongside striking collapse in perception for Israel around the world. I wonder why. The cost of that collapse, turns out, they said here, can be measured. Meta, which owns both Instagram and Facebook, is the primary way that many companies reach customers. The cost to earn eyeballs of a new customer by advertising through Meta is known as cost per click. The lower a company's CPC, the less it has to spend to attract new customers. The more it has to spend, the less viable a business becomes. A review of the leaked data provided by company whistleblowers showing that Israeli companies since 2023 are finding it increasingly difficult everywhere around the world to attract new customers, leading to advertising cost increases in the billions. You remember when I was still telling about how many billions they spend on advertisements and what have you? Even on my channel, I have many people come and tell me, oh, look, there's an of course, pay, no problem, pay, advertise. But it's not working. It's not working, and they're in deep trouble. And by the way, with Meta in particular, I don't know if you've read this article last month. They had a court case with Meta had a court case with Israel. Why? Because Israel was using Pegasus, which is part of the NSO group. Remember the whole shebang about that a long time ago? They had to pay them $167.25 million US for the spyware attack. This was published last month. Not many people report this, by the way, but Meta sued NSO, which is a government company at the end of the day. You know, talk about people who were previously like 8,200 and what have you, because they targeted more than 1,400 WhatsApp users. So they're paying hundreds of millions. They're paying to try and save their image. But it's not really working. Now, moving on to the Palestinian president. I don't know why I start laughing whenever I talk about the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas. The Palestinian president he's probably out of touch with the world. I mean, he's out of touch with the global sentiment. He's out of touch with the Palestinian people. He's out of touch with the people in Gaza and in the West Bank, out of touch with everyone. And now all of a sudden, he feels like making a statement. Look at this here. He supports disarming Hamas, and what they did on October the 7th is unacceptable. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Palestinian president decides to make this statement. Before that, he made a statement during a call that he had with Emmanuel Macron. He told Emmanuel Macron that there is reason to condemn October the 7th. There's reason to condemn October the 7th, and now with this report, he's confirming that, it's all wrong. It's not right. And he also supporting Hamas to disarm from the Gaza Strip. I mean, no one was really asking him anything, really. The man, out of his own accord, is coming with these absurd statements now, despite the fact that, well, again, can't you see what's happening in the world? Can't you see what's happening inside of the Gaza Strip? Anyway, the response didn't take long. Senior figure from Hamas, his name is Sami Abu Zuhri, he responded. He said, Abbas has no legitimacy to talk about the resistance weapons, and his message to France does not represent us. He added later on that the people who can speak about the resistance, well, is the resistance. It's the Palestinian resistance. He has no legitimacy. He's not elected. He's planted there. Yet he's talking about disarming the Palestinians. I mean, this man firstly came out and condemned the Palestinian resistance. Then he blamed the Palestinian resistance for the genocide. He said that, oh, look at the catastrophe you brought upon us. Then disarming them, then killing Palestinians in the West Bank, resistance fighters, then openly and with no shame whatsoever, operating with Israel, in Jenin in particular, handing over the campaign, firstly infiltrating, kidnapping, killing some of the Palestinian resistance fighters, then giving Israel the keys. Oh, hello, Israel, come in, and you can, here's so-and-so, go and target them. Shows you how much this man is out of touch. I mean, the millions across the world are way more Palestinian than this man. But it's the harsh reality of, well, it's not really about, just the Palestinian people, because we have people like him, at the end of the day, whitewashing the genocide now, and helping Israel with its request to disarm the Palestinian resistance. What did your peaceful resistance achieve in the West Bank? You've been negotiating for over 32 years now with the Zionists. All they've been doing is expanding from 100,000 to 1 million squatters, from small parts of the land to the majority of the West Bank, approving more expansions now. And even the Israeli finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, by the way, is threatening to even have more harsh measures in the West Bank. Because let's not forget here, the West Bank has a bigger Palestinian population than Gaza. So in some ways, or in many ways, the population in the West Bank, from an Israeli perspective and from a demographic perspective, is even more important than Gaza. But of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, he wanted to capitalize on everything, push for the propaganda, and try and eliminate the Palestinians, because let's face it here, the aim is to eliminate the Palestinian people, by the way. That's why they deny our existence of the Palestinian people. They come up with a pseudo-history about themselves too. And they're committing a genocide, trying to forcibly expel them, not only from Gaza, but also from the West Bank, by the way. Like this talk about, having willful migration in the West Bank. That's been going on for a very long time. A transfer of population, asking Arab countries to take the population. That's been happening for a very, very long time. It's not just coming from today. Moving on to the United States of America. What's happening in the United States? Fires in Los Angeles, and what Donald Trump is threatening to arrest the governor of California. Can you imagine that? Why is he threatening to arrest him? It's because Donald Trump sent the National Guard to California, to LA, without the consent of the governor of California. Then he was asked, well, of course, he was overriding him, sent a couple of hundred people. Then he was saying that, well, we might increase it to 2,000. And then he confirmed in an interview that he actually might imprison him. Imprisoning a governor. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not something light. Gavin Newsom, the governor, he responded. He said that what Trump is doing is an act of a dictator. He's, of course, a Democratic governor. One step forward towards authoritarianism, he said, after Donald Trump was threatening to arrest him and increase the National Guard. Now, can Trump actually go ahead with this whole thing, and what's going to happen? Well, firstly, Donald Trump is trying to portray the people in LA, in Los Angeles, as insurrectionists. He chose the word insurrectionists for a very good reason. Why? Because there's something in the United States called the Insurrection Act. What is this Insurrection Act? An act from over 200 years ago, Thomas Jefferson times, if I'm not mistaken. And it allows the federal government in the United States to use force to take down any attempt that is there through violence to take down the government. But the problem with that act, by the way, it's very vague. It can be interpreted in many ways. And it also includes the approval of the governor. Now, Donald Trump did not receive the approval of the governor. He's trying to skip over him, do what he wants to support his own agenda. Although the California governor, he said, I don't want you. I don't want the National Guard. As a matter of fact, the law enforcement in California said we don't want the National Guard. Yet, Donald Trump went against all of them and sent the National Guard. And he started to say that without me, California would have been in ruins. Now, the people, of course, are protesting against the mass arrests and threats to deport people from the United States. But it's not stopping there, and it's reaching the courts. The governor said that he's going to take action, and as a matter of fact, there's already legal action taking place. Attorney General Bonta, Governor Newsom challenged Trump order seeking to federalize California National Guard. And in their very long argument, they're stating, well, the fact that it's not needed, it's terrorizing the locals. So they're blaming the federal government of terrorizing the locals by sending the National Guard. It's without consent. It's totally unlawful. The governor didn't want it. And it's very dangerous, basically, for the state of California. Now, Donald Trump, later on, the day after, he tried to downplay, his request or option to take down, to arrest Gavin Newsom. Clearly, he had a lot of backlash, and he saw that, well, there's legal action happening against me here, and we don't want to take it too far. So there's an option that he will completely get rid of this campaign, not expand the National Guard, and end it there. Because Donald Trump, he did many U-turns previously. And the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about is Yemen. Yemen Ansarullah. They targeted the Ben Gurion airport again today, and sirens all over inside of Israel. Relentless attacks. That's coming one day after Israel confirmed, if not hours after Israel confirmed that they, for the first time, targeted the Hodeidah port with the Israeli Navy. So we had this report here in the Ansarullah website. Yemeni missile hits Lod Airport, millions of Zionists in shelters, and the enemy is talking about a fragmented missile. They're talking about a fragmented missile because we spoke about the missiles that are coming from Ansarullah and that multi-warhead that they have. Even if it's intercepted or if there is an attempt of interception, it will continue. And the scenes or the images of the interception were abnormal, to say the least, because it was looking like, well, something was being intercepted, but something else was falling. Israel was talking about fragments. Ansarullah were confirming that it actually landed. And there was a video posted on X. Let's see if I can share this link with you. Yes, here, if we have a look, smoke coming from near the Ben Gurion airport. Now, Israel did not confirm that Ben Gurion was it. They might be saying that these are fragments. However, when there's smoke coming out of a certain location, that means that something landed and exploded. It's not just fragments, unless fragments landed on a place that caused fire and smoke. Fragments usually fall, and that's it. But it looks like, well, something did land over there. But again, in Israel, they're not saying anything. Now, more and more companies, airline companies, completely canceling everything to do with Israel. EasyJet was the final one, saying that they are canceling all of the flights for an unknown period. It's causing a lot of trouble inside of Israel. And that is part of the reason also that Benjamin Netanyahu would want to reach a de-escalation, because he knows very well, so long as his genocide in Gaza is happening, he's going to be facing problems with Ansarullah in Yemen. And also the fact that, well, they started to use their naval forces to attack Hodeidah. I posted a previous video talking about that, but I'll mention it here because it's very important too. The attacks that are happening from Israel against Yemen through the Navy are an indication that something is going wrong. Something is going very wrong, by the way. It's very dangerous to attack with your Navy forces when you have a group of people there, Ansarullah in Yemen, expelling or have already expelled 4 U.S. aircraft carriers. What are you going to do with a pathetic Corvette or SAR or whatever it is? Pathetic. What are you going to do with that? Then it's showing you that they have a problem with the Air Force. The United States previously said that Yemen almost took down an F-35. Did Israel, through its intelligence, confirm or see or received some sort of information about Ansarullah preparing a very severe missile or an air defense system being there active? Perhaps. But what's for sure is all of these attacks coming from Ansarullah were definitely a contributing factor to the pressure that has been applied on Israel. Israel knows very well that they're not just dealing with the Palestinian resistance, which is leading or eventually will be dictating what happens on the ground, but also they have a group of people, many people in Yemen, people and the people in power too, standing and very solidly with the Palestinian people up until the last minute.